Hello everyone, it's Maha. Thank you for joining me for another Maha Speaks series. This is going to be January 2016. So, as always, I pick one deck that kind of embodies the theme for me for the month. And the theme always goes kind of hand in hand with what's happening outside in nature and what I feel like is happening within me personally. There's always that overlap, and that most of the time happens naturally. So a few months ago, what I do is I always think in advance what deck I might pick for the month, and sometimes that changes. But I knew that I would pick this deck for this particular month because, first of all, January, when I think about it, for me, it's always that middle of winter time and the time where I feel like I need to go more inside, more within, be more still, contemplate more, meditate more, be quiet more, like just be more inside myself. And it's highly a creative month for me. It's a time where all my ideas begin to just come out. And it's also a time that I feel I can connect to nature, especially trees, on a very intimate level. I feel like I can see their soul more clearly. I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but for me, that the bare branches, the nakedness of the trees, it's so vulnerable. And even just meditating next to trees, I feel like they're just very peaceful and very calm, very serene. Whereas in the spring and summertime, it's a totally different energy. And I feel like nature is just so busy doing all the things it has to do that I don't want to interfere in the same way. And I feel like those secrets that come in the winter are very deep, starting with that time of Scorpio, the hidden secretive sign. I feel like that's the time when in nature, at least in the northern hemisphere, I feel like I connect to nature in a more meditative, contemplative way. So this deck is not the only deck. I just wanted to mention that when I do Maha's picks, the decks that I choose are not the only decks that I use for the month. I'm always using numerous different decks, but the one deck sort of embodies that month. So as I mentioned in the video I did in the beginning of the month, I've been studying the medicine wheel as well as the lunar calendar. I'm working with a lunar calendar. And so this month, the moon associated, the two moons associated on the medicine wheel are called, for the month, are called the Earth Renewal Moon, which starts from December 22nd to January 19th, and then after January 19th to February 18th is the Rest and Cleansing Moon. So those two moons have that kind of energy of that quiet moon. It's also called, if you're following the moon phases and the different moons, this is the second moon that's called the quiet moon. That's that time. And so I feel like that stillness, the quiet, the contemplative time of the year is really what I'm feeling right now. The deck that I've chosen to do, and I'm going to talk about it in much more detail in a moment, it's a very unique deck. It's a very special deck. I love this deck so much, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. It's called the Tao BOX. It's a meditation deck, more of a meditation deck than I would say an oracle deck. So this is kind of something that I've been really wanting to do with you guys, and I thought I'd go over it with you and share it with you because it's not a deck that I see very often, and it's a beautiful deck. You guys, it's a beautiful deck for working with the Tao. It's amazing. It's a perfect way to bring the teachings of the Tao, Tao Te Ching, into your life and sort of like on an everyday basis. It's really great. I have many books on the Tao Te Ching, and this deck is very specifically helpful if you're wanting to bring those teachings more alive into your daily life. So just a little bit of how I feel like this deck is perfect for me personally, because I always feel that the decks that I choose, even if I choose them intuitively way in advance, I always feel like they're in tune with what I'm going through at that time of the month or that particular time of the year. And this happens just, I don't know, naturally. So energetically, I've been drawn to this deck. And the beginning of this month, and well, the end of December sort of beginning of January, I was feeling like I'm in the Tower card. So all of a sudden, all these changes were happening, and chaos was taking place, and changes that I didn't ask for, things that just happened as life goes through its different stages. And now I feel like January has been really about the Star card. The time of contemplation, a meditation, more of a peaceful time, a silent time. After all these chaotic changes, I feel like there is a need to open up space and to open up this kind of what it's called in Buddhism as no mind or emptiness, that voice of silence, opening up that space and just listening, allowing for the changes to really sink in and to evolve themselves. Because really when you're in the Tower card, when you go through something in your life that feels like a chaotic change or a shock, there's really nothing you can do except live moment by moment. And that's what I feel like I've been doing. In fact, funny enough, I came up upon a quote that I found on Facebook one day, and this was before I was preparing to do this video. And I put this quote, I printed it out because it really resonated with me. I felt like it was helping me with my thoughts at the moment. And I taped it, put it on my mirror every morning. I look at it and I read it. And I realized the other day, before thinking about doing this video, that it's a quote by Lao Tzu, the sage and the prophet, Chinese prophet, who wrote the 81 verses of the Tao Te Ching, the Book of Changes. I'm just going to quickly read you this quote because I feel like it really summarizes what I've just talked about. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward. Lao Tzu. So for me, the Tao is about observing and understanding nature and yourself and being in alignment with nature. And by observing nature, you observe yourself and you flow with the Tao, and that's how you can attain peace, which is something, you know, doesn't come just like that. It takes a lot of effort to cultivate that space of stillness within your mind. And I really think working with this deck has been, in a way, synchronistic with the changes I've been feeling. So this is a very special deck, you guys. I just have to tell you that when I opened this up, just beginning of January, the very first day that I opened it up, that night I had the most amazing dream, most powerful dream, and it was about the Tao. Really, the feeling of that light, of that light, that emptiness that you read about in books. But I really sensed it. I really felt it, and I was going through something at that moment. At that time, I was going through a really difficult conflict with a very important person in my life, and I was writing a letter to that person, and I didn't know how to begin or how to write everything I needed to write and say everything I needed to write with a loving, from a loving place as well, because I had a lot of tension inside. And after this dream, the next day I woke up and it was like something you just can't put any words on. I felt like sorry, I thought my computer stopped. I felt like all of a sudden nothing else mattered. Nothing else mattered except for that connection and that love. And all of a sudden I felt this joy and peace. And I went to write this letter and it was just perfect. Like I said, everything I wanted to say without any worries, without any tension, and it turned out great. The person whom I was writing it to appreciated it. really appreciated what I wrote and how I wrote it, and it really helped me to kind of be at peace with the whole situation. So just even the first day of working with this deck, I started feeling that the Tao was entering my life more so than just reading books. So I really want to spend time to talk to you about this deck in more detail. Let me just say first of all that the box is beautiful. It's so well made. It's really gorgeous, high quality. Like all the material used in this whole set is top quality. Everything is really simple, yet very much like just like the Tao itself, very simple yet to the heart. And working with it, like just the book itself, I mean, it's amazing. I'll show you the book in detail. It for those of you who appreciate beautiful books, this is a beautiful book. It's made like those really nice notebooks. Like the quality of it is just amazing, and the cards shuffle so nicely. I have to say that. I mean, I don't know why, if it's just the material that they've used, the paper, the cardboard. Like I've never held such I've never held the same type of deck of cards in my hands before. Like when I'm shuffling it, it's just like, it just feels so good. It's almost like shuffling really thin layers of wood, which reminds me of those Chinese scrolls. So the cards, there's 81 cards, and the back of them is actually different images of Chinese ink and watercolor landscape paintings, which I absolutely love. They are so inspiring to me in my own artwork. Way before I even discovered the Tao, I was in love with Chinese watercolor images. I'm going to show you guys all of these closer. I'm going to change the camera angle and show you. So the cards are like this, and on the back there's the quote, the verses of the Tao Te Ching, and then you have in the book a lot of explanation about like how to use the deck, some very useful keywords that are simply explained in a really beautiful language. So it is adapted and interpreted by Priya Hemenway, Hemen, and it's published by Chronicle Books. Includes 50 illustrated cards, 144 page book. So 50 of the verses. There are 81 verses on the Tao Te Ching, so they've only done 50 here. And the tone of these is beautiful. I will definitely post some actual photos just in case you don't see all the detailing in my camera. The colors are this like yellowish tone, that tea-dyed color of Chinese papers, or what is it called, mulberry paper. Gorgeous. This is just such a gorgeous deck. So I recommend this for meditation, and like I said, to bring the Tao to you every day. So I use it every morning. I just shuffle and pick a deck. I look at the image because they're all beautiful images. I meditate on the verse itself, and then at night I might look at the book and see what the author has to say and how the author has interpreted the verse, because the Tao verses of the Tao they're very personal. It's how you connect with them, and she says that in the book is they didn't want to give you too much information because it's all how you yourself see the verse and how you grow with the verse, how you put it into your life, and how you live through and learn, because each time you might see something different. Even by looking at the same verse, you might come up with something different. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the book and the cards. So this is the box, the Tao box book, and 50 meditation cards, opens up from the top. You got the beautiful cards and the book. So the book we're going to look at in a minute. Now, the cards are gorgeous. So they are all traditional Chinese landscape, watercolor, and ink drawings. So the Chinese art. I think these cards are very traditional. So if you like that kind of traditional Chinese art, you will definitely love these and appreciate them. They have this quality of kind of ancient drawings and prints. Especially the ones that are done on scrolls. What really draws me personally and has always drawn me to Asian landscapes is this kind of interplay of highly detailed images in contrast to a space, a blank space, like a white space that allows it, to me, for breathing space. This one, okay, so the images are on one side and then the verses are on another side. I want to read you this one in a moment that's called Roots and Branches, because it's really what I was getting at when I was talking to you guys about the Tao and my feelings about it, how I see it. So yeah, I love this image. There's always that feeling of like hazy, misty quality combined with nature, and then those really flowing brushstrokes, and like I said, the combination of detail line work juxtaposed with the white blank space that allows for breathing, for space. These images can only like put together as well. Usually in if you have ever seen any Asian art in museums, the scrolls are always put right next to each other. I love this, the Chinese writing on top. I love the little lines they use. There's always a sense of flow. So as you see, these are really traditional prints and images. You've got ones that are highly complex, ones that are pretty simple and just have lines and brushstrokes. So images that lend themselves really well to contemplation and to meditation with very minimal use of color. Contrast images that go well together from simple to complicated. This one, for example, is really complex landscape. People are always very insignificant as compared to landscape itself and nature itself in Chinese art. So it's, and she talks about that in the book, how landscapes and nature is the bigger picture that we're contemplating on and thinking on, and the human body or the human itself is very tiny as opposed to the whole environment, a whole nature. So it's kind of talks about our insignificance, teaches us to be humble and look at nature more closely. Look at this one. This one's beautiful. I want to show you guys at the end of this video, if you stick around, I'm just going to insert a few images of my own work. I know some of you have asked me before to show my art, and I'm not around. I haven't gotten around to doing that. Sometimes I put, like I did this morning, paintings, my own paintings in the background. So every time you see a painting or an image, it's always my own work. I have different styles, but there was a time where I was highly influenced, like I said, with Asian art, and that's when I was getting closer to learning about the teachings of the Tao Te Ching, and I did a series, like a body of work, looking at nature and the human form, and I was paying a lot of attention myself to detail and then leaving a blank white space, and that white space served as a space for contemplation. Many people asked me, what is the purpose of that white space? Like, are you going to fill it up? But I thought it was just so necessary to have that, and I felt that connection with Asian art, the fact that they do leave the white space, that the space itself serves a specific purpose. And I really resonate with that. So if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll show you a couple of pictures of my own work. So I want to read you one of the verses here. This is verse number 42. It's called Roots and Branches. I'll just read you the whole thing. It's not that long. That which is firmly planted will never uproot. Cultivate Tao in yourself, and you will be rooted in virtue. Cultivate Tao in your family, and you will cause virtue to spread. Cultivate Tao in your village, and you will cause prosperity to increase. Cultivate Tao in your kingdom, and you will cause good fortune to prevail. Cultivate Tao in the world, and you will make virtue universal. Now, this is the part that I love. I observe myself, and others are known. I observe my friends, and see myself more clearly. How else should I come to know the laws that govern all things, save that I observe them in myself? So let's go ahead now and look at the book. Okay, so like I was saying, this is a gorgeous book. Beautifully made. I love this here. It's around, I don't know if you can see it. It looks like a coffee tea stain from a cup. I love when they do that. It's just so simplistically beautiful. So the Wisdom of the Tao book begins with a table of contents. The first section talks about the language of the Tao. So it explains some of the terminologies in a really simple way, easy to understand, you know, without going too much into the scholarly language. It kind of, in a beautiful, well-written, simple language, talks about terminology like what the Tao means, and then Te, mother deep, the way, Wu way, return to the origin. And then talks about the practices of Taoism and its disciplines, then using the cards. And there is a really nice intro as well about the Tao Te Ching. Here's a list of the cards. So like I said, in the beginning I said 81 cards, but I meant to say 81 verses of the Taos, but there's actually only 50 meditation cards in this deck. So the Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching gives you a history of his life, some of the legends behind him, the I Ching, how the Tao Te Ching is divided. Then it goes to that language of the Tao. And then we go to a little bit about the translation of these texts, because there are different variations of the translations of the Tao Te Ching. And here we go to the cards. So there is an image on the left-hand side of the card in black and white, but very good quality black and white. So as you see, the images are all there, and then on one side you just have a little piece of writing, a few paragraphs about the verse. But like I said, she explains that you come up with your own meanings of the verse, and how you put it into practice, into your own life, really depends on you personally. So all the images are there. The book, like I said, is awesome quality. I just love holding it. Feels really good in the hand. And the reproductions, even though they're black and white, they're pretty nice. Really detailed, really nice. And then the alphabetical card index. And bibliography, artwork credits. And at the end, it actually gives you somewhere in here, it gives you some books about the Tao that they recommend. Can't find it, maybe it's in the beginning. Anyway, that was the book of the Wisdom of the Tao. Thank you so much for watching my part 1 of this month, you guys. And like I said, I'm going to put some images of my own work right now. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.